There are 4,218 PS2 games, and I've got to beat every one of them. I've got to own the game because I'm playing on the original hardware, but I've beefed it up using a RetroTink 5X, some component cables, and more to come soon. Can I do this before I die of old age? I hope so. Gather around, everyone, if you dare, to hear a story as old as about 2003 or 4, when Resident Evil Outbreak first released, just a little while before Resident Evil 4, and the huge changes that encompass the Resident Evil series from this point on. This game retains the old-style Resident Evil survival horror aspects with the fixed camera angles, tank controls, and everything is so fucking slow. There are no tricks here today, instead, a treat. Online play. I decided, along with my fellow PS2 challenger, Tuna, to play this game co-op, because we thought it would be kind of fun. Also as a Halloween episode. I mean, why not? It's Halloween, and it's a scary game. If you would like to play this game online with either friends or strangers yourself, I'll leave a link in the description for a website that will show you how to do such, as well as a YouTube video, so that you know exactly what to do. And now, on to the game itself, because I have a few things to say before it begins. The first thing is we play on easy mode, because this game is hard in a couple different ways. Next, this game doesn't really have a coherent story like a Resident Evil game usually does. It is more about the co-op nature of this game. Between 1 and 4 people can get together, work together to get out of the city. And each of these areas runs just like you'd imagine a section of a Resident Evil game to play. Yes, there are 5 scenarios, and when you are in a scenario and leave one, you don't take anything extra with you, other than some unlocks for characters like costumes. Instead, each one starts you anew, and you've got to find everything you need for the level in the level, including ammo and guns, unless your character begins with guns and ammo. That's a little different though. First, we get to see tons of different menus and all these different options. You can just slowly pick over them yourself, but it's pretty straightforward. Then we get to the character selection part, where I get to select a character out of 50 characters. There's normally only 8, but because this is an online server, they added some more to flesh it out. In fact, the characters aren't even like cheaty characters. All of them fill a different role that people can do and see how they can beat the game, which is really cool. They did a great job balancing it. There's only one really good character that's like clearly for a newbie, so whatever. Outbreak is our first scenario, and by far the easiest, probably being kind of like a tutorial level, even though it doesn't feel much like a tutorial. It doesn't tell you what to do, it just kind of is easier. But when you start this level, you get to see a cutscene that is specific to the character you picked of the original 8, which is really cool. That means if you pick one and your friend Tuna picks another, you both see a cutscene with your character in the bar, which this takes place in Jay's bar, a place that's actually seen in a couple different areas of Resident Evil series. Like usual, when the zombie outbreak starts, people don't know that there's zombies, so a zombie walks into the bar and bites this dude. Upon opening the menu, we get to see the normal Resident Evil UI, which has spots for things to go, item special file, which are things you've seen before, as well as a health bar, fine. And you get to see a pistol and a special slot in my character's inventory. This game features special abilities for each character. For example, my character begins with a special pistol and has the ability to put his hands up to block a zombie from biting him, whereas Tuna's character has an extra backpack which has 4 extra slots and can scurry away from zombies by pushing a certain set of buttons. In this scene, you can see that I'm pushing barrels to try and block the door to stop the zombies from coming in, but it happens anyway. In the beginning, the puzzles are quite simple. We start in the bar, we go around to the few rooms we can go into until we find a key that opens our entry to the next level. As we continue on through the different areas of the bar, we have to get used to these static camera angles and the tank controls, as well as not being able to move while you fire, doors opening and things loading in very slowly, and it's just kind of a chore. I mean, obviously the controls nowadays are way different. You have much more agency over what your character does in any given moment, so it feels very weird to have so little control over what you're doing. You really got to make the most of what you have. Our first goal is to explore, get used to everything and how it works, and find a way on top of the building to the roof, where we can climb across to a different building, because at this point we're pretty much stuck in the bar. We find some forklift keys and raise up these boxes, which allows us to crawl across the tops of these barrel bins and get into a ductwork, which helps us get to the roof. One of the cool things about this co-op version of Resident Evil is that you can split up as often as you want. In fact, it's probably best to, as you are under a time limit. You see, not only are you trying to get through the level, but everybody has a virus infection spread rate, which means that you're going to turn into a zombie once it hits 100%. If it does, it's over for you pretty much. You get to walk around as a zombie, which is cool for a minute, but you have a time limit. Anytime you take a healing item, it will stop the spread of infection. If you get hurt, it will begin again. So you'll need to watch that spread of infection as it rises, because the closer it gets, the smaller your timer is. You need to make sure you're taking healing at the appropriate times. As I said, this stage is pretty much like a tutorial. It's much more linear. There are some other areas that you can go into, but most of the time you're going right to where you need to go instead of backtracking or finding all these crazy new things to do. In fact, once we get off the roof and go down, we find ourselves in the streets, pushing cop cars to block zombies from getting us as we move forward with this other cop, and he shows us where to go. As we continue through, sometimes cutscenes appear, and it says same time. This means that if you guys are split up, it will show you the same cutscene. You guys know you're watching the same cutscene, so you know what is happening at the same time. A neat little mechanic is that you can offer each other items. So he goes into his inventory, pulls up an item, and I go up and grab it out of his hand, as if I'm grabbing it off the ground. But we can switch items back and forth, that way we don't need to empty our inventory. Here you can see us being overwhelmed by some fucking zombies as we're trying to shoot a door. A door which, if you try and aim at and shoot, makes you spin around and hit the zombies because it has some kind of like auto lock on.
My favorite, Jim, Ryan. He didn't really put up much of a fight.
No, he didn't. He will be missed. Tuna grabs a lighter that cop was holding before he got eaten, and we open up this gas tank, which spreads gas everywhere, and we catch it on fire to nuke a bunch of zombies. Hi.
This is the Raccoon City Police Department.
You want to come down here? Yeah?
Please try to stay calm.
People are being eaten alive. Just stay calm, guys.
Come on, guys, it's chill, you know.
I've honestly never felt safer. We get in a truck with this guy who's trying to drive across town, but he crashes it, so we have to get out. And then we find out where all the ammo and guns have been this whole time.
Damn, dude.
Damn, yeah.
Why were you hoarding all this? And not helping?
The thin fence holding back the Swifties just couldn't be held up by their massive weight, and they cave in. And these guys who are setting up a bomb, I guess the police have bombs now, they get eaten. They don't even fucking try and run away. What are they doing? So we come on the scene with all this ammo and tons of guns, and we decide it's zombie killing time. And as we're doing this, we look on the ground because there's a bunch of things there. Eventually, we'll find the parts to put the rest of this bomb together and just hope it kills all the zombies. I'm sorry, what the fuck bomb was this they just had sitting around like in their car? This zombie apocalypse wasn't like, there wasn't a warning. They were like, hey, go grab a bomb. We might need it in case zombies flood the town. No one had a bomb ready. Where the fuck did they get this bomb? Anyway, the Swifties got too dangerous, so they sent the National Guard and the Army and the Marines. They sent everyone. It's a fucking zombie apocalypse. Scenario 2 takes us to William Birkin's underground lab. Yoko, one of the 8 characters, actually works here, and she has an Umbrella ID card. So this woman, Monica, actually takes it from us at gunpoint, and then takes this G virus, which she really wants to take a drink of, and then runs. After this, we walk it off and spend some time traipsing around this underground lab.
Yeah, what's your favorite, like, tank control game?
Ooh,
The trick question, because they're all bad.
Oh, no, oh.
He fell for it.
Stanley and his green thumb strike again, so we must find a way to destroy this plant before we go up the ladder. And if you get that reference, you're friggin' old. As we move in further, you can see Tuna's character in the background kind of limping. He's actually bleeding or has some kind of status ailment, and when that happens, you can take something to help you, but if you don't, then you kind of limp around slowly and lose health every so often. Tuna unfreezes a wrench and then uses it to pry the bolts off this wall so that we can turn this valve here so we can continue on. In this game, the controls are just kind of odd. When you're in a menu, if you hit circle, instead of backing out, you'll actually offer the item up. And I keep hitting circle because circle is also exit in this version because it's the Japanese version, so I'm getting all confused, and it takes me so long to learn. People just love writing shit down in this game, so we find this memo that says, hey, here's how to take care of the plants. So we have to go find these things to take care of the plants. Ooh, I found some chemicals. We're making jungle juice tonight. Okay, pause 1 second. You aren't ready to see what this plant looks like yet. Just prepare yourself. You're not gonna expect it. If you haven't seen it yet, you won't expect it. But it's a very confusing plant, right? Like, is it good? Is it bad? I'm getting mixed feelings. Oh, Lord.
That's not.
I mean, I don't know what else you could ever think. You know?
They know what they're doing.
Apparently, they used to give out monthly passcodes, something I'm so glad I never had to deal with. We find a living person. He passes out really quickly, though, so there's not much we can do here. Sometimes some of the people you find do offer you things, or if you can give them things, they, like, tell you something. Ugh, this is so annoying, dude. Look at the enemies on the ground here. You have to get close and then aim straight down and just hope that you can shoot them. I don't have very much ammo.
Oh, there's spooky noises. There's a bug. There's a big old bug.
Oh, shit! That's right, an enormous moth attacks us. I have no clue why. How often have we seen an area we have to unfreeze? I feel like it's pretty often in video games that you have to unfreeze an area, and then when you go back through, there's more stuff that you've unfrozen that you have to fight. Whew, doesn't this just creep you out? You come out of a door and there's a moth above you. And I turned around and tried to shoot him, and I did hurt him, but he then did like some Pokemon move and like dropped pollen on my head. Oh shit, look at this frozen dude right next to me. He's gonna unthaw in a minute, isn't he? We turn up the heat, and exactly as I foretold, we get attacked by lizard dudes. And there are a lot of lizard dudes, and they just pop up on you, especially with these camera angles, dude. It's just, you hope one doesn't sneak up from a side that you can't see. We suddenly get a timed section where this tram is gonna go up, and we have to follow it, but we don't know what to do. It's just 2 minutes and 30 seconds of nothing. I think it's just to make sure if anyone's kind of off on their own, they can get here in time to go with you. But as we're doing this, we also get a cutscene with that girl Monica from the beginning. Apparently she's been infected by this cute little thing, and then it climbs up after us while we're riding up this elevator on the tram. And as it does, it then does something impossible. It grows and multiplies and just creates, an evolution for itself. Wow. Just before this, we collected a lot of ammo, so we just go ham on this thing with shotguns and pistols until it dies. As it writhes in agony, we get on this train thing and we just escape. And that's it for scenario 2. Okay, this is where things really get cooking, because before the last 2 levels, they weren't necessarily that hard to navigate. The second level had a few moments where you backtracked, but it wasn't too difficult. A lot of the areas were memorable and had very few things in total in them. However, see, this level is about 5 floors total, and instead of being very obvious to tell what floor you're on, sometimes the floors look the same. You go through a lot of rooms, and they're all just kind of messy. There's nothing memorable about them. So it's a slog trying to figure out where you need to go in this level. And here is a special thing about this level. While you're playing, not only do you have to try and kill the zombies and get to the end of the level and worry about your infection spreading, but you have another clock. That's right, this dude covered in leeches, a zombie, cannot die. He just can't die. So no matter what you do to him, he will chase you, and he'll lock onto one of you. Most likely he'll travel through the ducts into a floor, and then whoever's floor he's on, he'll follow you all throughout the floor. Now, in single player, I don't know what you'd do to deal with this. Honestly, it sounds like it'd be really annoying. But with us, at the very least, one of us can then run around with no problem until we change floors and he decides to go after someone else, or maybe he keeps following you. I don't know. He does that to me several times. And this area is a lot of key cards and using the memos to figure out what you need to do next. And we need a password, and it's not absolutely apparent what the password's gonna be. It's a really tough level just because of how different it is and how complex it feels like it wants you to do all these things. On top of this dude chasing you.
Just emergency light, it says.
Ah, dang it. I guess I can still... Ow. I was gonna help you search, but...
It's too late for that. No regrets.
That's right, in the last scene, I became a zombie. My infection spread too quickly, and I just succumbed to it. I turned into a zombie. I can help him look around a little bit, but the only thing I can do is break down doors, and he just decided to shoot me, which is fun. Look at this cheapo death. If you don't get out of the way of this guy or shoot him, he will pull you out of the window. I was slamming on buttons. Nothing happened. I could not get away from him. And we had just restarted after I turned into a zombie. As you're searching around, you can sometimes find these blue items, and they are only for unlocking character costumes, I think. And I find a bunch of them. They're not really that hard. They're just in the environment. Okay, this part right here is where I'm trying to input a password on this console, but this dude keeps following me. Not only that, but you've got to do a small bit of math. I mean, right, it's not that difficult, but while you're being chased and constantly harassed by this thing, you have to look at some memos and add a couple different 4-digit numbers together, and then that's the password. And you just got to guess a couple times. We do find some blood packs and find out that the leech zombie actually likes the blood packs. So if you put one down, it lures him away. We didn't know this before, or Tuna did, but I didn't quite understand it. But now there's a big use for it. See, I'm in this room here that has a temperature control. So I tricked this dude into walking into this little shielded room where I can turn up the heat. I put a blood pack down, turn up the heat, and he gets boinged. Oh no, I gotta do this. He's stuck.
Yeah, you can do it.
Hi. Oh, is it gonna show you?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Yes.
Once you cool down the room, you can go grab the key card that's on the ground. Earlier, Tuna found a set of padlock keys that he uses to open this padlock to let loose this boat, so we can get the fuck out of here. The problem is that we have to bail out of the boat when we see all these leeches crawling up the walls. And here's the bad part. This leech is huge, and he's the boss. Is that a meter?
Yeah, I'm assuming it grew. Americans trying to figure out how long a meter is.
I know, right? I don't care how long a meter is. This thing's fucking crazy. And it's actually kind of hard to fight because most of the time it spends its, life underneath this water. And when you shoot at it, of course, you're shooting over it, but you got to get close. But when you do, he sends his little tentacle-y things all the way under the water. So we find out that there's some valves up on the ceiling, and if we shoot at them, they'll hit him. I'm not sure if they're hurting him or not. But then eventually we walk down an even further path where there is a spot you can shoot something on the side. The problem is we didn't know you could. So while Tuna was wildly firing, it just targeted the thing and blew up on me. Tuna has to lure this thing all the way back to the beginning where I thought I saw a gas can, and yep, totally worked. The fourth scenario starts us with this little first-person view of us running through it like an alleyway, trying to find a door to take so that we can get the fuck out of there. We see some firefighters who we later learn were just here trying to help, but I'm not sure what they were doing down here, as this area is about to explode. And that's exactly what it does. They're like stuck down here, and when it explodes, it destroys a lot of the building. So now we gotta find our way through this big hotel with a huge crack in the fucking middle. There should be no virus in there, though.
Yeah, that's true. What are they doing there? I would assume
just the two of them.
Yeah, I would assume, and they're like in full gear. Memorize the map. Ooh, okay, nice, nice.
Oh, this is a cool little cutscene.
Oh, you have a cutscene?
Okay, you gotta admit that's pretty neat.
I have no idea what I should do.
This sucks. What a bummer.
We decided to split up because there's an enormous amount of rooms in this hotel. There's just a lot, and you've got to find all the ways to get to them. There's doors that lead to shortcuts, there's holes in the floor, there's tons of stairs. I'm dancing on the ledge. I'm crawling across the ledge. There's a zombie at a window, but I don't know if it's gonna break out. Oh my god. It did. Okay. Whew. As you're exploring the rooms, sometimes you can find a door that is kind of fragile. It just has a little lock on it so you can't open it normally. But you can break them down using weapons, or do what we did, smash our faces into it over and over. It will eventually open, and we feel kind of stupid for wasting so much time, but it happens.
Because I can't do that, I can just retreat. Ooh! Perseverance.
What? Yeah. We then find one of those liquors and mercilessly beat its ass. Look at Tuna, he just can't help himself. He's just whack, 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 never gets his fill. There's a safe in the wall of one of the rooms that has a 3-lettered password, and it's just the abbreviation of someone's name. You can find a memo and you can figure out whose it is and just type them in. It's cool though, I guess it's not too hard, so I liked it. Because the building is split in half and there's a bunch of shit everywhere, we have to take this hole in the floor to get between some of the floors. And it's kind of annoying because you see this quite a few times, since different parts of the hotel can only be accessed through the hole and the other parts can only be accessed above the hole until you find these silver and gold reliefs for doors that open a little shortcut, which I guess that's fine. It's just very time consuming going up to the box and climbing up and climbing down like 6 or 7 times until you figure out what you're supposed to do. So here's a puzzle here with Julius Caesar's bust, and there's a hole in his chest. And I just really wanted a knife to be the solution to the puzzle, but it's not. I think it's just like a gem or something. I thought, man, that would be so cool if, you stab him. But hey, there's at least the occasional push the bookshelf over and reveal a door.
You guys want to hear a joke? All right. A bear walks into a bar and says, yeah, I'll get a gin and tonic, please. And the bartender says, sure, but why the long pause? And then the bear looks down and says, I don't know.
Okay. Going through these hotel rooms is so fucking boring, dude. They all look the same. I mean, there's a couple things in like a desk or a drawer or just sitting on the ground or in a cupboard, but I mean, they all look the same. There's hotel rooms. We finally complete this very weird puzzle where you have to go into different hotel rooms that all look the same and press a button on the wall to make a panel light up in a different room. And it has a bunch of panels you need to light up in a certain order based on countries on the map. So once you do that, you finally can come to the middle of this area, go down to the bottom floor, and there's a liquor with hair. I am pretty much at the fucking edge of turning into a zombie. I can feel the zombiness creeping up in me. And we gotta fight this dude, so we gotta do it quickly because we need the fucking level to end. Well, Tuna luckily picks up a grenade launcher, and he uses acid rounds to blow this thing clean out of the fucking hotel. And it's super quick, too. This thing just plops out of the ceiling and rises on the ground. But at just the right moment, the fire department breaks down the front door and saves us. Ah, god damn it. It's a fucking tyrant, dude. Discount Wesker decides he's gonna release this dude on the world. I don't know, I guess it's just his thing. He wants to do something cool with the virus, and here it is. This area does take place in a college campus. I don't know why this guy has this kind of equipment on a college campus, but he does. The first portion of this stage starts in this big area where it's kind of like a central location where a couple things happen, and you've got to pretty much enter every single door. We realize we've just got to split up again, but on my end, I fight a lot of fucking zombies as I explore. Which makes it difficult when you're trying to do a little puzzle on the wall where it should pull a fucking cord. So I pull the blue cord, and guess who's behind me? Fucking zombie. This puzzle is about a lithograph where you pick up a memo and these numbers are put in a specific order. If you look at it, they spell out 0325. So I've got to put 325 in the clock. So we're looking for 2 gems to put in this moose's face, 1 for each eye. And I'm just relentlessly being pursued by these fucking zombies. I just want to grab the gem. Well, it opened a secret door and we found a dead guy. But he does give us the numbers for the elevator. So now we can go to more floors. Woo! After all this time playing, we only have this one bit of lag that really does anything, and it's kind of funny. This zombie just zips towards me, and he's in Japan and I'm in the US, so it's a long distance. We should definitely be having some lag sometimes, but it just works so well. And yes, of course, there are bugs. There's some spiders down here in these little passageways. And after I go to the basement and walk around these fucking tunnels, a cutscene starts where the tyrant is out of the little test tube and attacking these 4 really well-armed dudes. There's also this odd guy out of nowhere with a scope, and he shoots a rocket, but the rocket opens up to being a needle, and it sticks in his arm, and that's all that happens. And then he beats everyone else up. Okay, F it, I'm running.
I feel like every time we split up, you manage to find the area with all the combat and all the enemies, and then I find like I'm just chilling, and I'm finding there was the sharks, I guess, but like everything else has been smooth sailing. There's no zombies. There's just health supplies, guns.
I do solve this pretty cool puzzle on the wall, which was really hard. Okay, there are a shit ton of wasps down here, and it sucks because you never know where to shoot. It's not even worth shooting at them. You just gotta run. And then they do this like cartoon charge up and try and sting you. What the fuck? Who was thinking they'd put us in an elevator for some inordinate amount of time, and then we can't even shoot the wasps, so we just fucking run around in circles crying for what seems like ever. Eventually, we find our way to this outdoor section that leads between a couple different areas, including a sewer that can be moved, and you can go down inside, and there's like a lab down there. Well, we found Mr. Tyrant, and he just destroys Tuna and me. It's just ridiculous because he can sprint. It's like he can move so fast and we can't move at all. The whole thing for this level is that we're having 3 different ingredients to make something, and one of those things is the blood of the Tyrant. Luckily, that guy shot a needle in his arm, so as long as you can knock him out with these electric charges, then you can get it.
Okay.
Oh God, he's sprinting.
Yeah, get out. Where'd you go? Oh.
I love how he just gets fucking mauled. And when we're down in the underground labs looking around, we couldn't find out where we needed to go. In fact, we were kind of stuck. Well, randomly, Tuna decides to get up on this box, and his character grabs a pipe that we just didn't recognize as being somewhere we had to go. After crossing it, we find these creepy-ass fucking frogs, and I hate these fucking frogs. They stand at an awkward angle from me, and it makes me feel like I need to aim down when they're close, because I'm not sure if shooting straight forward will hit them. Okay, now here's where things get a little interesting. We are almost at the end of the level, and when we decide to go back across these pipes, the frogs can just jump up and wail on you, knock you down in the water, and then just chomp you to death. Because at this point we realized we had to play the level again, and like I said, we're almost at the end, so we decided maybe this last time we play, let's pick a cool character. Let's look at some of the characters on their website and see what they all do. And I picked a real fun one. That's right, I picked Mr. Gold, although he's not from Reservoir Dogs, don't worry. This is just a stick figure. And he had a lot of high stats. This is the newbie character I was talking about. He has high health, high speed, low infection rate. It was a lot of fun to do, and Tuna picked Hunk, who also had pretty good stats, as well as he gets to use a critical strike like one of the other survivors does. If you hold your aim on a zombie for a little bit, he can get a headshot. Although it wasn't like the thing was much easier, we just had some extra stuff. The game was still pretty difficult. You know, you've got to fight all these enemies, and it is a real survival horror title, man. You don't always have ammo. We finally reacquire the ingredients and put them in this little machine, which spins them around for us. While the thing is mixing, the power goes out, so we go into the next room, and there's that scientist from before. He's sitting here talking about how he's gonna let us play with his pet, which we've honestly already played with it, man. That's where we got the blood. And the guy from earlier who shot the Tyrant now comes out and actually just outright kills this guy, and it's a little gory. Okay, so here's the situation. Those 3 things we got together made the antidote for the zombie virus. What you have to do is you have to give it to yourself. And if you look in the bottom right corner of the screen, there's no more virus spread rate because the virus is gone. It's called Daylight. You need to take it for yourself, but then you also need to take 2 more copies. Well, you can only take 1 and make it easier on yourself. Then what you can do is you can run all the way back to the courtyard, and this is where the building is going to explode after the timer hits the bottom. However, we had a little bit of miscommunication, and we weren't sure exactly what we were supposed to do. It was 3 long minutes, and we felt like maybe there was something we needed to activate. Well, Tuna walked into the building right as it exploded, and he died right before the last boss, because we're about to fight the last boss. There's a small area before him where you can pick up a bunch of items. I mean, at this point, it's pretty obvious you're about to fight a boss. Now, he was in the building when we blew it up, so he lost his arm, and he's a little bit more vulnerable or stronger now? I don't know. We can actually hurt him with something. Well, I run my ass in circles, trying not to let him sprint up on me or jump on top of me. He actually jumps way up in the air and will land on you. And I use a grenade launcher to do the bulk of my damage, actually all of it, because I have so many fucking grenade launcher rounds. He wasn't really hard, it only took a few minutes to beat him, and he didn't really do that much damage to me, so we get credits. Oh no, he isn't dead, he isn't dead. Okay, it got me, it got us. Damn you, Capcom, they got us. Here is where the other vial of Daylight comes in handy. I don't know if you can beat him otherwise, but what you're supposed to do is walk him around the arena until you can go pick up an item on the side of the map called the ampule shooter, and you put the Daylight into the ampule shooter and then fire it at him like a gun, and it just immediately cures his zombie virus, which is pretty much all he is made of. So I sneak up behind him and shoot him in the ass. He dies in dramatic fashion. We get the hell out of there. Now, here is what you can do apparently. Now, I just learned this, so don't take it with a grain of salt. I'm not sure exactly, but there's 3 different endings you can get here. One of them is if no one gets the daylight and gives it to themselves. That means you just turn into a zombie, and on the helicopter ride out, you actually you see yourself eating the pilots of the helicopter. But if you take it for just yourself, then the ending has you escaping normally without anything bad happening to the pilots. But there is a third one. If you bring an even extra sample with you, you can actually use that sample to cure everyone in the world, meaning that no one will ever have a zombie virus outbreak again. So we didn't do that. We just didn't know there was a third way we could grab an extra one. We just didn't know. So yes, it was great, but we didn't cure the world of the virus. So yay, we screwed up. Everyone's gonna, turn into zombies because of us. And there we go. Game number 43 beaten. That's right. Game 43 beaten. That was so much fun. I really enjoyed playing it co-op. It was a pretty fun game. There were a few issues. I wasn't so certain about the zombie virus ticking up slowly. I feel like I just had to take a lot of healing that necessarily didn't heal my health. It only healed the zombie virus, which, I mean, I guess it's fine, but it doesn't feel the greatest when you're like, okay, I definitely only have about 3 hours to beat this. So as a first time playthrough, it is difficult to balance. But after you know what to do, I guess it becomes much easier. I mean, you know where to go, the zombies are going to be able to show up, any special enemies. I guess it's maybe the difficulty change will facilitate you really being careful, but at least for us, we constantly used herbs and health sprays just to make sure that our zombie virus didn't go up. But it's not a bad mechanic. I think it works, and it makes you move forward, so you don't not just sitting in just one place. Although level 3 had that guy chasing you, which was an even extra way to make you not stand still in one place.
I also really did not like how you only have 4 inventory slots. Yes, some characters have an extra one with an extra item in it, or you use Yoko, who has an extra bag with 8 slots total, but it just felt so restricting when you first play. Yeah, after you play this and you know what to do, you kind of know what to pick up, what to leave, and also when to drop an item that is not useful anymore. But your first go through really feels restrictive. And it just seems, I don't know, if you had 1 or 2 extra slots, I feel like I would have felt better about it. Otherwise, the game is still pretty fun, and now that you can play it online with friends, or even just kind of meet people on Discord to play it with, I think it's a really fun game, and I do wish that they would update this with the remake, Resident Evil 2 stuff. I think this would be so much fun if they went in and put it kind of like that. It would be a lot more fun, absolutely. I also want to say thank you so much, Tuna. Thank you for playing this with me. It was super fun and way worth playing it co-op, especially with just how much fun it is to play games with someone else. You know what I mean? Like, it's absolutely worth it because of that. I wouldn't say if you are a hardcore Resident Evil fan, play it solo, sure. If you're just playing it casually, though, it is much better playing it co-op. I've also got to say thank you to the patrons who, seriously guys, thank you so much. It's been really fun, and we've done a couple patron games already. We've got another one coming up eventually here, and it will happen probably around Christmas time, maybe just a little before, maybe like a month and a half from now. But thank you guys so much, and as always, Discord in the description if you'd like to join and talk with us. We talk a lot. And on that note, let's end the video. Thank you so much, everyone. See you next time.